Those that don't know, my name is Tommy Monteverdi. I am the chairman for the Teaching and Education Committee, and I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker, James Ridyard. He's regarded by his peers as one of the best short game instructors in the world. I just had a nice 30-minute car ride with him over here. He is the real deal. James came to prominence when he presented at our National PGA Teaching and Coaching Summit in January of 2015. Later that same year, he was named to the innovation list by Golf Magazine. Since then, he continues to research and develop ideas on high-performance wedge play. When it comes to the short game, he is way ahead of the curve. A quick thank you to Keith Stewart, who had the fortune of running into James down in Florida and helped setting this up. So, Keith, thank you very much in advance. And at this time, would you please welcome James Ridyard to the New Jersey PGA.
First of all, to get anywhere near the hole is phenomenal, but to have it go in, yeah, it's one of the great golf shots of all time.
Well, here it comes. Oh my goodness. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
Right. Hands up for Larry. Tiger. Why Tiger?
Mize probably hit that shot 20 times before. Tiger probably never hit that shot. Mize, they probably hit that shot 10 times a day in practice rounds. Tiger never hit that shot before he hit it.
Okay, so Tiger got to practice. Larry got to practice.
Right next to the hole. Larry's might have rolled into the water for all we know to hit that flag.
Yeah, you get that comment a lot with that one. He's taking the paint off the flagstick, right?
I would say the elevation of the initial shot, like compared to the low runner.
Larry's just for a win.
Larry's just for a win. Yeah. So people talk about the situation of Tigers and how phenomenal a shot it was in that situation. Larry's was to win in a playoff. Up there a little bit. Without going too much into it, I think Tiger's shot was easier. I think it was way easier. Anyone who put their hand up for Larry, why was Tiger's shot easier?
You only have one.
It's a good job you're all here.
Consequences? Larry ball could have gone in the water. I mean, just more things could have gone wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Larry's margin for error is actually much smaller. Tiger's hitting into an upslope and he knows it's going to come down. All he has to do is not hit it over the upslope and he's good. He's tapping in, maybe 4 feet below the hole. All right, it was an easier shot. People forget that. Can I just have the Larry hands again? No offense, but there's no one that young in that group. All the others remember Tiger, don't they? How many people really remember watching Larry hit it? I didn't see him hit it. All right. Oh my goodness. Try not to curse. It's New Jersey, you're allowed to curse, right? It's like fundamental. Right, I'd like to open up with a quote of some kind, and this is one of my favourite currently. There's an analogy I use when I'm working with players to talk about how I try and cut out the damaging parts, the bad things. And my analogy is always like medically related, and it never goes across very well. And then I saw this quote and thought, this is great. So perfection is when there is no more to add, no more to take away. I'm always trying to take things away from people. Trying to cut out the bad stuff and try and leave the good things in there, rather than try and have them pursue some kind of technical perfection. Right, most of your players will do something right, leave it in, try and work with it, develop it. Don't try and turn it into some kind of mold or model. It's important for me as well that this is really designed to try and help you teach your players. I see very little value in me coming along and talking to you about how I might help a tour player improve their 30-yard pitch. Right? Because the things I tell them are going to be something different to what you tell your everyday golfer. So this is designed to help your guys. All right, my guys too, to a point. I still teach plenty of people that really struggle. In fact, one of my projects this year is a project on yippers. Is there a yipper in the room? Has anyone got the yips with the chipping? Or they're defined as the yips? Was that a twitch or was that actually? It was a yip, exactly. There's a couple in the room. I had the pleasure of teaching a hand surgeon about 3 months ago, and the discussion on the yips came up. It's neurological dysfunction, right? It's called focal dystonia, the medical term for what we call the yips, focal dystonia. And he's been in surgery for 20 years, dealing with tremors and twitches that manifest in the house. And I asked him how many people he's actually operated on in 20 years that have this dysfunction. How many do you think he said? Slightly higher. 2. Twice in 20 years he has performed surgery on somebody with focal dystonia. So what are the odds of you getting them on your chipping green in front of you for a lesson? Pretty slim, right? I'm firmly in the camp of I don't think I'm going to meet anybody with the yips in my career. And believe me, I get some emails. I get all kinds of people telling me all kinds of things. Which is why I wanted to do this project this year, to try and figure out why these players do what they do. I believe it's technical malfunction that leads to some kind of anxiety over a period of time. Right? And the way they try and fix these things make it worse. Right? Can you imagine that, having a problem and your solution makes it worse? You end up with severe anxiety, which is what I think we see. Right? No yips. First one is the best video I have on my phone, by a mile. When I have a bad day, this is the one I go to. Ooh. This is his 3rd swing in the lesson, and the first one I filmed. And I almost fell over crying. It still makes me laugh now. It's ridiculous. It's hypnotic and hilarious all at the same time. And what standard of golf are we dealing with there? What do you think? What standard of golfer?
Pretty decent.
Looks like he's got a clue.
Got a good grip.
Yeah, got a good. He's an instructor. An instructor. So that's one end of the spectrum on what I see. That was in Florida, so he's actually from the Northeast. That wouldn't really happen up here because of the grass down there. It just emphasised the issues. You won't believe the before and after on now. All right, let's go to the other guy. Maybe, if the click works. There we go. Right, this is the person that wrote me the email. So he's trying to carry it about 8 yards. He's actually hit it 40 total. Hit it 40 yards. We're on the edge of the putting surface. Because as a participant in my study, I like to make them incredibly uncomfortable. So when they arrive, I take them into the clubhouse, we sit in a bar, and I sit them down on the couch. And I start to talk to them about their problems, when they began. What makes you nervous? What situations do you hate? And by the end of the 10-minute conversation, they are trembling in the couch. And then I take them out to the chipping green, and I'll put them on the putting surface on a slight downslope and say, right, first shot counts. And this is his first shot. I want them to be their worst possible selves when they hit their shot. There's no point in making them comfortable and confident. There is no point in me giving them a warm-up. I want to see what happens when they're under pressure and they have one chance at it, just like the real world on the golf course. All right, so 2 extremes. You've got the guy who doesn't make contact and the guy who hits it 40 when he's trying to hit 8. Easy fixes, right? Now, I'm not a purveyor of fine art, but I do like an image. When you go to a gallery, you look up and you kind of think, what does that say to me? What does this image say to you? Monkey on the bridge. He's got great balance. He's great balance. Sorry? No worry. Comfortable, confident, happy with what he's doing. Good balance. He's a happy monkey. Anything else?
He's chosen the hardest way.
He's chosen the hardest way to possibly get across that ravine. If it goes wrong one way, what's going to happen? Dead monkey. What's his alternative? What could he be doing? He could be walking down the bridge, and he could sway side to side, and he could have a few drinks before he goes home, and he'd be fine. All right, but he's chosen not to. Narrowest margin for error. Now, this picture is important to me because people believe there is a narrow margin for error on their chip shots. If their technique is anywhere near decent, the margin for error is enormous. But figuratively speaking, it is enormous. All right, and just to show you that this isn't photoshopped, it's genuine, here's the monkey in action. I found the video. Serious skills. Huge shoulders. Alright, so the monkey on the bridge is crucial. It's a part of understanding that you don't need to chase perfection. You've got to give yourself a much bigger margin. He needs to be awesome to succeed. If he's average, he's dead. Leads you onto the dollar bill. I tailored this to the country. I mean, I was in Calgary a couple of weeks ago and I had a nice $20 Canadian because it's got the Queen on it. We don't get that over here, unfortunately. What significance does this have? Well, I will tell you right now that you can hit the ground anywhere probably up to 3 inches behind the golf ball on a chip around most greens and hit an absolutely fine shot. No problem at all, if you have a clue what you're doing. The problem is most people don't have a clue what they're doing and they think they have to try and hit a spot somewhere around the ball. Often somewhere target side of the golf ball. And on a chip shot, you do not have to do that. So I like to put the dollar bill down on the ground and I scrape a T mark behind it in front and I place the ball 2/3 of the way towards the front of that area and I'll stand and hit shots on the back line and hit it and you wouldn't know any different. You know, if you can get somebody to the point with their technique where they can deliver the club in a space the size of a dollar bill on the ground, that's a very big margin, right? And what does that do to their mentality, to their comfort, their confidence? Imagine walking up to a shot and standing there and going, I can land this club anywhere in this space and hit a good shot. Your average golfer is not there. Anyone that struggles with chipping is not there. Little slide to wake you up. I'm going to make an outlandish statement. And this is a random slide because I like to throw it in because I don't want to go down the same avenue too long and reveal it all straight away. Outlandish statement. It is easier to create spin at shorter distances than longer distances with wedges. It's easier to create spin at shorter distances than longer distances with wedges. Isn't that ridiculous? If you can read a graph, you see it's not. What's the RPM on the spin at that 6-yard carry? Look at the blue diamonds on the graph.
Under 3,000.
3,000. The first blue triangle is 3,000 RPM. 6-yard carry. How many RPM is it at 50? Just over 7,000. Who's produced the most bang for the buck? Shorter shot. It's easy to create spin at shorter distances than long. Doesn't mean the total spin is higher, but it's easier to generate spin. All right, 3,000 RPM at 6-yard carry is pretty normal. 3,500, 4,000 for a good player. If it was some kind of linear relationship, you'd be up at 50,000 RPM pretty quickly, and we know that doesn't happen. Spin generation is actually pretty easy at short distances. You don't notice it because the ball launches lower, peaks lower, lands at a flatter angle, so it shoots a little bit. but that ball is spinning. Little second, that's a random fact for you that you can take away. All right, so once I've got over the mechanics with someone, I start to discuss with them how to solve different problems around the green. And I start with 5 flights. I say start with 5 flights, I give a player 5 flights and that's it. So I'll build them up. This builds up a little bit slowly for my liking. There's a low, mid, high, and high. We give them 5 different trajectories with the same club. Now, your high may not be the same as my high. Maybe higher, maybe lower. Your low may be lower, maybe higher. It's all very much individual. But I like to have 5 distinctly different options. And you're going to find that most players come along will be better at one end of things than the other. Great at hitting low shots or great at hitting high shots. That just helps you to bias their practice, all right, towards their weak spot. So we've got 5 flights. And here's briefly how I have players at least set up for the shots. Low trajectory, the ball goes back, handle pretty much stays where it is, and the handle raises up. You'll see that from down the line in a second. That one on the left is pretty much how people are taught to chip, but it's a speciality shot. It is not a bog standard chip, and you all know the reasons why now. The middle is the walk up to it and hold it shot. Normally you shouldn't have to think about it. It's the mid trajectory, lots of spin, low run out, mid run out, and then the high trajectory actually has much lower spin but has low run out. And why doesn't it run as far? Killing me. Why does the ball not run as far? Because it comes down steeper. Because it comes down steeper. All right, what do you notice about these 3 pictures? Anything jump out at you at all? Distance from the ball changes. So with lower shot, you get closer, the shaft raises up taller. That helps you to be a little bit steeper, a little bit more straight, less chance of adding loft, changing loft. I hope there's a fine for that. Carry on. Right, the middle one, the shaft is at the angle it's been designed. And the far right, the shaft is lower. Why is the shaft lower? Is there a good reason for it? Is it just something people do? Ever thought about it? Sit it up. Ever thought about why it's lower? Why do players instinctively, and this is really instinctive that players do this, why do they do it? Helps you to extend the wrist. Yeah, I'll give you that. Right, when I spin this shaft this way and open the face, what happens to the heel of the club? Where does it go? It goes forward and up. The player's not going to hit a ball when the heel's way off the ground, are they? So what do they do with the handle? Lower it down. All right, it is instinctive. But it's an important thing to understand. What do you think of the alignment on these 3 shots? What have I not done on the shot on the right? I've not opened the stance. Why have I not opened the stance? There's a method to this. What happens when the ball's above my feet? Where does the face point? Left. So what happens when I lower the shaft? Where does the face point? Points further left, doesn't it? It's the same as the ball above the feet. Same answer, should have come straight out. So when I open the face and I lower the shaft, I'm cancelling out the opening of the face. They cancel each other out, so you can just aim straight at it. Isn't that a nice place to be? So you don't have to stand there and aim 30 yards left when you're trying to hit a flop shot. Off the green. Now, just a boy with a little bit more science, because I'm a bit geeky really. When you open the face above 70 degrees, when I open the face above 70 degrees, the face and the path become effectively the same thing. Wherever I swing this golf club, ball will launch. Wherever I swing it, the ball will launch. So, bearing that in mind, if I aim straight, I've got a pretty good chance of swinging it relatively straight. If I aim left, what do I need to do to my swing path to get the ball to go to target? I have to swing inside out relative to where I'm aimed. And when you're swinging inside out with a wide open face, what can go wrong? One of the unmentionables can come out. All right, so you can open the face as wide as you want, because as soon as you start to change the angle of the shaft, the grooves in the leading edge become irrelevant. Become completely irrelevant. Once you get above 70 degrees, wherever you swing it, it will all go. Alright, and then we may work a little bit on the radius or the width of the swing on the way through. To present the least loft and have the ball run out the most, you would be the widest versus the narrowest for the highest off the shot. It changes the rate at which the club head overtakes the hands. Right, widest, slower overtaking, narrower, faster overtaking. Adding loft, keeping loft off. Right. Very straightforward, very easy. So you build up 3 shots, and then that mid-low and mid-high become quite straightforward to teach them, because they already know how to do the low one, they know how to do the high one. Then they just need to figure out what to do in between. Just take a smaller dose of both. And this is another place where trying to use one wedge predominantly helps. If you use different clubs all the time in the same action, you don't really develop different club delivery skills. The same thing over and over again. It doesn't increase the range. So if you want to develop skills at the play, use the different flights to do that. Use higher flights to make someone shallower. Mid-low steepens things up a little bit, so they're trying to manage these interactions with the ground all the time. Low flight is, of course, the steepest. If you want to deliver different lofts, you'll have the least lean on the highest flight, and that's what's going to go from the lowest to the bottom. Most lean for the lowest. So every time they're delivering this club in different ways for different flights with that same club, they're at the same time increasing their ability to deliver club to ground, increasing their skill level. They're always just using one club, they'll never develop it. A quick example of a game I like to play with people. It's called cancelling out slopes. So you've got the guy on the upslope, he's also got a ball on the flat at the top and then a ball on the downslope. And the challenge here is to try and launch this ball at the same angle, all 3 shots. I apologise for the graphics, it's a really cheap app. Now I have all players practice this. Some players do it in play. What's the benefit of having the ball come out the same kind of trajectory all the time, regardless of slope? The effect.
How it reacts when it hits the green.
How it reacts when it hits the green is going to be very much the same. Spin rate is going to be similar, land angle is going to be similar. So you get somewhat predictive in the behaviour of the ball when it comes down. Every player I have practices it. Probably 2 or 3 do it in play. Most of them are going with the slopes most of the time, or fighting against, depending on the situation.